So whoever wants to can jump on this one first, but I think a lot of people assume that up-tempo offense means it's going to be a lot more running. But how important is the passing going to be, and David Ash's maturity this year, and the wide receivers, which wide receivers might contribute the most?
I think it means more plays is what it means. They want to get it into the mid 80s in terms of the play total from where they were in the high 60s or whatever. They had it in the mid 70s when Vince Young was the quarterback. They want to get it into the mid 80s. The more snaps you have, the better opportunity that you have of scoring touchdowns. What was the number you had, John, about them scoring about?
Scored a touchdown about every 7.6 plays or something like that. So it makes sense. If you can squeeze out another 8 to 16 plays, you've just scored 2 more touchdowns.
Right,
That's
exactly.
just simple math.
So the tempo of what they're talking about also goes exactly to what Rod is saying. If you're going faster tempo, if you're getting more plays, you increase your chances of having somebody with explosivity break loose and break a big one. You know, hit them, boom, something big. So I think that's part and parcel of what they want to do with the tempo of the attack.
And part of what Coach Brown says why he wants more plays is because, honestly, they didn't have enough footballs to go to all these stars, right? You got Jackson Shipley out there, you got Mike Davis, you got Joe Bergeron, Jay Johnson, Malcolm Brown, Jonathan Gray. But the real issue is that we have not, and Coach Brown has said this too, he wants to stop the substitutions. Too many substitutions, bringing guys in and out. We have not had a go-to guy on the 40 acres in literally about 3 or 4 years. We haven't had a skill player make the All-Big 12 team in the last 3 years. This is Texas. So you're telling me none of those guys are talented enough to, create some separation between themselves and somebody else on the team to become the go-to guy? Somebody has to become the go-to guy on this offense. And I'm looking to see who that is. Right now, it looks like it may be Jonathan Gray, but who knows? Mike Davis may step up in that role. Maybe Jay Johnson steps up in that role. But I'm really interested to see who is going to be the guy that takes on that role to be the go-to guy, where you can build an offensive game plan around him and force a defense to have to scheme and game plan to stop that guy. And then you got your counter punch. Well, you're gonna shift the defense to stop Jay Johnson, shift it to stop Mike Davis. Okay, that's great. That means Jackson Shipley gets one-on-one coverage on the outside. You're going to try to stop our passing game, which is prolific. That means you can't put 8 guys in the box. That means we can run it as much as we want. That's the key. That's why we've been stagnant on offense. That's why sometimes we're inconsistent. Sometimes we look great. Ole Miss game, we look fantastic. In TCU game, what happened? It's inconsistency because we don't have a go-to guy. There's no excuse for that. If Baylor's got a go-to guy, TCU's got a go-to guy, we should have a go-to guy. We got enough talent there. That means nobody's creating the separation to be the guy. And I'm looking to see who that's going to be this year. I don't think anybody knows who that is right now. But they got a lot of different guys who are talented enough to take on that role.
Because it'll just happen. Somebody will take it.
It happens naturally, but it hadn't happened in 3 years.
No, I know. Somebody will take it.
Hopefully it's a running back and a wide receiver. Hopefully there's 2 of those guys.
It would be great. We had it with Roy Williams and Cedric Benson. It was 2 of those guys. Jamal Charles and guys like that. We had 2 or 3 of those guys. And Texas should always have 2 or 3 of those guys. And we got a lot. All those guys are talented. Most of those guys will play on the next level. They'll play in the NFL. But somebody needs to be the go-to guy. Not a skilled player making the All-Big 12 team the last 3 years. It sounds like a ridiculous cartoonish stat, but it's true.
All right. John, you mentioned the defense earlier.
Yeah.
What defensive player do you think might surprise this season?
Might surprise? Well, Manny Diaz will be the guy who surprises. A name like Peter Jenkins maybe might pop up. I mean, there are just some guys that you expect them to do something and you hear their name called a lot, but whenever there's a play, a game-changing play, picking up a fumble, scoop and score, knocking down, a delayed blitz and getting a sack. For a guy that hasn't had a whole lot of reps, his name got called an awful lot at the end of last year. And I guess if you're asking for a surprise name, I mean, that would be one that jumps out. But other than that, it's the usual suspects. Can they stay healthy? Can we get some productivity? I like Adrian at the safety position. I think that's going to be really important. And I think on the line of scrimmage, too, the other Malcolm Brown probably is going to have right up the middle. Your defense got to be sound at the middle.
John pretty much took up a lot of different guys. I'll go with.
I'll just say Jenkins. I'm sorry. Jenkins, my official answer.
That presence on the defensive line. Malcolm Brown's got to step up. I'll go with Dalton Santos. I suppose what I've been hearing, he's having an unbelievable spring, unbelievable offseason in terms of working out. Lost like 20-something pounds, so he's sleeker and he's faster. He may be that stopgap in the middle that we need if Malcolm Brown can't show up. He may be that guy in the middle that we need. Because Steve Edmond hadn't really, solidified that role yet. I think Dalton Santos is a guy who impressed people coming down on kickoffs and special teams. He's a guy who may end up stepping up this year. I think you'll be surprised.
And he's a little crazy, maybe, too.
He's got a little crazy in him. You got to have a little crazy in him. Got to have a little
Like
crazy.
that.
A little crazy motor there. In addition to the guys they've talked about, because they all cross my mind, I'll give you one other name, Sherrod Evans. Because I think that in a pass-oriented league like the Big 12 runs into, you got to make sure that somebody emerges from the secondary that maybe you weren't expecting. I, for one, am expecting Adrian Phillips to have a good year. I think a lot of people are. He's been there. He's played all of the positions. But in terms of finding a guy, somebody to step up and kind of go out, wow, that guy's done a heck of a job. Maybe he would be the surprise, I think, that could step up at the corner and really produce.
He had a big pick in the spring game, did he?
As a quick follow-up to that, who's the guy that's going to be the captain that kind of fills in the hole that Vaccaro and Okafor left behind?
Oh, it's easy. That's Quandre, and that's Jackson Jeffcoat, and Jordan Hicks stays healthy. That's him. It's those three guys, three different levels of the defense. Those are the guys who provide your leadership.
Absolutely. Those are the guys that have produced. They have the leadership, skins on the wall, the whole thing. I think this defense not only will look to those guys, they should look to those guys because of what they've done. And everybody's waiting to see what Jordan Hicks can do coming back after the injury last year.
They got to stay healthy, though. Jordan Hicks and Jackson Jeffcoat have to stay healthy. That's also the IQ of your football team. Jackson Jeffcoat's a guy. He's got lineage. He's one of those guys. Quandre Diggs has got lineage. Jordan Hicks, formerly like a Muschamp guy. He's a high football IQ guy. I thought the biggest thing with our defense last year, the reason it suffered so much, I thought the football IQ was very low. That's not a knock on him. I had a low football IQ too. That's something you cannot improve during the season. You got too much going on. I got practice, I got school. You can't improve it during the season. You improve your football IQ in the off season when you got time to watch film, you got time to critique yourself, you got time to learn the system and get more acquainted with the system. So I think in this off season, I think a big part of it was getting the football IQ. People always talk about, the system of Diaz. Oh, like, oh man, he was great the first year and he was horrible the second year. Well, think about that first year when he installed that defense. The central nervous system of that defense has all NFL guys. Blake Gideon, coach's son. You had Keyston Randall in there. You had
Keenan Robinson,
yep. Emmanuel Acho. Yep. I mean, you had a lot of guys, high football IQ guys who are playing at the next level right now. Blake Gideon just retired. You lost all of that last year, and I think a lot of that was the football IQ just diminished on the team. You get that back up, and I think that defense of Manny Diaz will be good again.